Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I always appreciate it when a company has fun with their own products, and that can be as simple as changing the color scheme. In this case, that's exactly what Olight has done, kind of in celebration of Americans' Flag Day, or what I look at more as getting a jump start on the 4th of July. They produced a set of flashlights and one set of knife scales that are in this flag color, yes, I'm going to go there, so hang on. I'll save that till the end, which is in just a couple of minutes. But basically, yeah, a Chinese company with a U.S. flag on it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But first of all, this is the Olight Warrior Mini 2. I have been using this one for quite a while. I really like this light. I've done a video on this. It's a solid light. It's got a proximity sensor. It's got a dual interface that once you learn it, which is like takes a minute or less, it's a great interface. And basically that means I've got a tail cap here that's independent. I've got a thumb button up here that is independent. Both of these can fire the light. But once you kind of get used to the operation, it's great. This one here, if I hit the tail cap, it's going to go to a very bright setting. And I've got it on pulse, or I can click it on and have it stay on. Once I'm in that, I can use the front button just in taps to toggle through, whoops, let me turn that on again, toggle through different settings, as you can see. When it's off, turn it off here, I can hold this button down and get a very faint, turn it on here, very faint light. That's great, moonlight if you want. So it's possible to turn this light on in its lowest setting no matter what. That's great if you're in a tent or in a very dark room and you don't want to blast yourself. But once it's on, then I can hold it down and go through my different light settings. There is a slight little button there. It's green because I charged this up. It uses a standard kind of magnetic charging system that Olight uses. And this one runs on a 3500 milliamp 18650. Solid batteries I've had from Olight, no problems. Now, a couple of the accessories on this, you can run it on a lanyard. There's an included one, or on a big kind of a round carabiner, and it's got a dual-sided pocket clip. This can go from here to here. That is something that I think is important, is being able to switch these back and forth. That's where I prefer it. Some earlier lights, some other lights, you couldn't turn this around. And still on a lot of lights you can't. This, if you don't like it, I can just pop it off, get it out of the way. If you put the pocket clip up here, then you can also see that because of these indentations, it indexes opposite of the thumb button, but I just use the folds in my fingers to index it. Overall, this thing pumps out over 1700 lumens. 1750 is what they claim, and Olight's usually pretty close in tests, down to the 1 lumen moonlight setting, which I think is great. And then the intermediate ones are 500, 120, and 15 lumens. So it's a good, solid, all-round EDC light. This one here, this is the I have to look at the box to always pronounce these. This is the i1R2 Pro. For some reason, I can't keep that in my mind, but it's a USB-C rechargeable little keychain light. Uses a twist, 2 settings. First one, a little bit of light. Second one, more light. This will give you supposedly 12 hours of runtime on that setting versus, I believe it's 23 minutes on the high setting. But look at the size of it. I have given a ton of these away. It's kind of like a gift that people get from me because I really like this as a keychain light. I've used lots of keychain lights, and that one is both a serious light and functions as a keychain light. A couple of differences between these two versions, even though they both are the same model. The i1R2 Pro. This is fairly smooth. You can feel the bumps of the flag stripes versus the knurling here. Not a big deal though. But anyway, this thing is a great light. And you can always keep charging it up, before your adventures. You can see I can pulse it or back it off so it's nice and safe. Okay, let's go there. First of all, Olight's having a flash sale coming up on their flag stuff. This is something that I guess I can take it a little personally, thinking, okay, you've got a Chinese company using a flag to promote a product. Well, the first thing is I want to know is, did they get the flag right? Did they even step forward that far? And on both of these, and these are my only 2 samples here, there are in fact 50 stars. The U.S. flag has 50 stars on it. That's one of the things that sets it apart. Being red, white, and blue. I mean, Russia's flag is red, white, and blue. Czech Republic's flag is red, white, and blue. France's flag is red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue, or blue, red, and white, or however you say it is, or whatever order, is not unusual. And flags with stars is not unusual. And flags with red, white, and blue and stars is not unusual. In fact, there is one other flag in the world that's almost the same as the U.S. flag. But anyway, yes, both of these contain 50 stars. Stripes, on the other hand, on the U.S. flag, there are 13 stripes. There are 7 red and 6 white. And that supposedly represents the 13 colonies. That's, as far as I know, it. Some people have symbolism for purity and strength, I guess for the white and the red. This has 14. There is an extra white stripe. Yeah, they could have done the math probably to figure it out, but I don't know. However, in reality, during the Continental Congress, Delaware was pretty much under the control of of Pennsylvania. So technically, yeah, there were 13, but there were 12 independent ones, independent colonies, I guess. So Olight added one, and in reality, there was probably one less, so I'll give that a wash. Now, a Chinese company producing U.S. flag stuff. Well, first of all, in China, or Chinese products, yes, there's always that feeling that, especially with things that lean towards patriotism, you should be supporting the country that is reflected in the color scheme here, or the flag. However, many things are made in China. Sometimes there's no choice. I mean, I remember struggling, thinking, gosh, I have to get rid of my quality-made Scandinavian Nokia cell phone. And I've been up to Tampere, Finland. The Nokia factory. For a Chinese manufacturer. I'm filming this probably with all Chinese equipment. Probably on a Chinese tripod, too, even though it's carbon fiber. Looking to see if it says. But anyway, I have a ton of flashlights. Now, there are some very good USA-made ones, primarily Surefire. Now, I have some Surefires here. However, I meet a lot of people who have the same feelings I do about the Chinese flashlights, but don't own any Surefires. Why? Because they're too expensive. Because they can't afford them. Because maybe they can get way more bang for their buck by buying a different brand, whether it's a Phoenix or a ThruNite, or Claris, Streamlight. You can buy those on the Snap-on truck. So what I worry about is we can have that loyalty towards U.S. companies, but then if you don't support the U.S. company by actually buying the product, what good is it? Surefire makes an enormous amount of effort to source all the materials as much as possible in the U.S., to build them in the U.S., design them in the U.S., I assume on maybe USA-made machines. I mean, it depends on how far down that road you want to go. However, if you don't buy these products from Surefire, then you're not actually supporting the company except in good wishes. And I think there are certain places where, I'm absolutely a Surefire fan. However, I've been expanding my lighting and lighting options by looking at, in particular, this case, Olight. Now, Olight does support me by sending products like this so I can review them. And they ask, and they're always very pleasant, is this something I was interested in? When I first saw it, I thought, ouch, can I go down that road? And I thought, I do like this light. I have made videos about this light. I carry this light. By putting a flag scheme on it, I don't know. I'm also, as much as I don't like black, maybe I'm more like gray and brown. But I did wonder about that. And I know in the comments that it's probably going to, get people to share their feelings, and I hope you do. But I also think that, they're having fun. Nobody's making you buy this. And they got it mostly correct, which means they did put thought into it. And I've seen a lot of stuff, even USA-made stuff, that, especially car parts, bug deflectors, things like that, that have really taken the flag to a whole different level. I mean, a flag bug deflector, sorry if I'm stepping on anyone's toes, but that one, I've seen it done nicely, but I've seen a lot of ones that I just thought that's kind of interesting, that choice. And if you look, the flag is not designed right. And anyway, so I kind of went there. Yeah, that is a thing. Definitely needs to be addressed. I do think that these might have more fun during certain times of the year. To me, this looks like a firecracker. By the way, if you let off fireworks to celebrate the 4th of July, where do you think they're made? That's right, probably Mexico. But a lot of them are made, in fact, overseas. So lighting, have fun with it. They are producing this. Would I carry a Chinese flag, Olight? Now, that's an interesting question. It might be more authentic. I don't know. What do you think? But if you want a good quality light, and they are exploring the edges of lighting, of handheld lighting, EDC lighting, we need companies to do that. Because then it forces other companies like Surefire to, I think, step up their game a little bit. Because, the overhead of making flashlights in America, the tooling, the part sourcing, the assembly lines, everything like that, you end up making a big commitment. And so it's very easy to continue to make it. I've had this E2D. I've had the previous version. This version... And there's a newer version after this, and each one is progressively better. And I appreciate them. I mean, same with the little guy here, the E1D. And I don't know how much they would push the limits if they didn't have the stress or the competition, the capitalist competition of other companies that were also pushing the limits. Now, there are all kinds of other flashlights that are much, much less expensive, and I usually stay away from those. They might work great for just a bit, but you can't really count on them. But once you get to a certain level, and Olight meets that, you end up with a solid light that you can count on. There are only a couple of flashlight makers that actually make their own flashlights. And to my knowledge, there's only one in the U.S., Phoenix is another one. I believe they produce their own lights. Again, it's China. But then they're in control of the supply chain, which also means sometimes you'll see very similar lights branded, and those are probably companies that are working with Phoenix to have them build their lights. Factor was one a while ago that was using Phoenix to build their light. This is a veteran-owned company. And they were using Phoenix because Phoenix was doing it, would work with them, even though it was made in China. But it was supporting U.S. veterans. So it gets complex. You kind of have to figure out where you feel comfortable with it. But I do appreciate that they did go down that line, with the U.S. flag, and that it made me have to think about it, come to a conclusion about how I felt. But it's a flashlight. There's a lot more I could do in the world than worry about the flag motif on a flashlight, and it does look cool, gotta admit. With that, Doc out.